This is west of Everest, one day after Oklahoma knocks out Missouri 17-6. Sooners are now one win away from making the college football playoff. And by the way, I'm Lee. He is Grant. A game in which it didn't start out great for Oklahoma, but as the game went on, the second quarter was the big turning point, and then the Sooners essentially just kind of kept Missouri at bay for the entirety of the game, thanks to another excellent defensive performance and just enough offense in the game to get Oklahoma over the top to improve to 9-2. Good morning, Grant. How are you doing today?
Morning, Lee. I'm doing all right today. I spent my Saturday at the Iowa-Minnesota border. There's a casino on the Iowa side of the border there, and a lot of Minnesota people there. I think a lot of Minnesota people make that trek on the weekends to bet college football and the NFL on Sundays and whatnot. And so that's what I did all day on Saturday. It was a good time. Was able to sit in a sports book in a bar, and it was like and the setup there was really great. It just a ton of massive TVs. Every single game from every single window was on. So I had a good spot. I was able to watch every single play of the game, and I was very happy about that. So, hey man, just they're alive. They're still alive, and the defense is just terrific. The defense is really good. And I thought coming into this one, this would be a pretty gross game, a game that they just kind of had to grind out. And that's exactly what happened. The defense, after kind of the first few drives of the game, really, really put the clamps down. Missouri didn't do anything in the second half. Oklahoma's offense, you were right, did just enough to separate and kind of throw Missouri off script. So, hey man, 9-2. I think we'll take it. I'm certainly in the acceptance stage right now of what this team is, and I think we can be pretty blunt and honest about it. The offense stinks. It's nowhere near as bad as a season ago. They don't turn it over as much. They don't take anywhere near as many negative plays. They pass protect pretty well, but they really have no second pitch, and I think especially good defenses have them totally figured out. And I think they're at the point where they're just relying on a big play from Isaiah Satania. Nobody else on the offense in the skill positions is particularly good, or in Xavier Robinson's case, healthy. So they just kind of are what they are right now. The defense is great, and I'm just going to accept it. Maybe they can go on a little bit of a run here just with being really, really great on one side of the ball, as we are very, very used to as Oklahoma fans.
Yeah, I put out a tweet yesterday after the game saying that I'm trying to process OU essentially turning into SEC Iowa or SEC Penn State. But also Iowa and Penn State typically don't win games against really good opponents that are better than them or are supposed to be better than them. And Oklahoma is beating good opponents. I mean, Missouri's not Tennessee or Alabama, but Missouri's a good team. I mean, like you said, they're going into the game. Their offense is really good. It's very one-dimensional, but it's one of the best rushing offenses in college football. And their two running backs are really solid, and Missouri's defense is really good. They've had a lot of tests this year from good offenses, and they've been able to make good offenses look not that great. Oklahoma's offense isn't very good, and you could tell Missouri's defense enjoyed playing for the most part against Oklahoma's offense, with the exception of a few plays here and there that changed the game. But ultimately, OU almost is creating a brand new category of a type of team, and maybe SEC experts can tell me, hey, no, this is SEC teams have done similar things. Like there's an SEC team this year that was pretty much kind of like OU, where the defense is really good and the offense. I mean, I don't know, maybe some old like LSU teams from the past.
before the the good 9-3, 10-2 LSU teams before Joe Burrow came on the scene, and then they turned into sort of like an offensive powerhouse. Is how their offense is like. One thing I'll say is that 3-year stretch where Iowa was essentially had the best defense in college football and the worst offense in the Power 4, Power 5. OU's offense is not really even close to as bad as those Iowa offenses are. There's some things that OU's offense, can do that those Iowa offenses couldn't, as in they can score from far away, mostly because of Isaiah Satania. And also, when OU gets in the red zone, they score. They score. And that's kind of been one of the things. And Iowa was so just awful back in those days. But I also think Iowa's defenses were probably better than this OU defense. And so I think, at the end of the day, it's a wash. They are very, very similar teams. And I just, as more from like a historical standpoint, like I've been trying to think like what OU team is this the most like? And I'll go back 24 years. This OU team is a lot like the 2001 team, whereas it's a different thing, but like it's a top 5, top 3-ish defense that has a lot of really good players on it, and the offense just is so inconsistent and a lot of the times cannot get out of their own way. For OU, it's mostly just because they're not super healthy at the running back position, and their receivers just are not dynamic. And whereas that 2001 team, the offensive line was dreadful. Quarterback play was pretty bad when Nate Hibble was in there, but their skill guys were pretty darn good. And so it just is what it is at this point. I'm trying to just have fun with it because the defense is fun to watch. They are.
I'll quickly push back. No need to go in deep on it, but I don't agree that we don't know if those Iowa defenses are better than this one, because if they had the stretch and schedule that this OU team has gone through, would those Iowa defenses have held up as well? I don't know. But that's just a difference of opinion there. Doesn't really matter. I mean, the defense is playing well, and they're playing against good opponents. And they're doing things. I mean, against a one-dimensional offense yesterday, the defense played really, really well. And we're going to get into likes and dislikes. Let's start from the beginning, just not necessarily a like or dislike, but we were wrong, and everybody was wrong about Bo Pribula. I could not believe the guy was available to play. And I think he did run a little bit, and he was moving fine, I guess, but there was no way he was fully healthy. I thought for the most part he did what Missouri wanted him to do. I mean, he was clearly it was a quick passing game, get the ball out of his hands. And so I was shocked that Bo Pribula played in that game. Granted, it's a very small sample size. Went to the game with our friend Brady Trantham from Through the Keyhole, and there were some Missouri fans behind us that we could hear. And in the second half of the game, one of the guys was yelling to put in Zollers, the other quarterback, which I don't know. I mean, it's one set of fans. Who knows if the entirety of Missouri's fan base was wanting to see somebody other than Bo Pribula. But just a quick little, just wanted to mention that. Yeah, that didn't think Pribula would play, and he did. And at least on that first drive, I mean, Missouri ran the ball, went down the field and took up a lot of the first quarter. But I'll start with this, likes and dislikes. I'll start with a like on defense in that opening drive. And speaking of Bo Pribula, I do like that in that on that first drive, there was 2 times where Oklahoma had a chance to hit Pribula early in the game, and Oklahoma hit him hard. Early in that drive, he scrambled, Pribula scrambled, and he was hit from 2 different sides, one by RSJ and Kip Lewis from behind, hit him pretty good. And then the last snap of that drive on third down, Pribula kept retreating in the pocket, and Kendall Daniels just destroyed him after he threw the ball. And so I like that Oklahoma set the tone early, like, hey, man, you decide to come back and play against Oklahoma, it ain't going to be easy. We're going to hit you. It's not going to feel good. So I like that early on in the game, even though Missouri was able to get points on that first drive.
Yeah, and I was I'm right there with you. I thought all of the stuff with Pribula in the early portion of the week with like Matt Zenitz and Pete Thamel reporting that optimism was high. Like if you would have put a gun to my head, I would have said that's Eli Drinkwitz doing gamesmanship stuff, which I think is right in his wheelhouse. That's something he would absolutely do. And I thought, I didn't think Pribula looked extremely injured while playing that game. I thought he was, and my opinion hasn't really changed on him as a quarterback. I think he's ultra diet off-brand JJ McCarthy. They even look alike. That's essentially what he is. But I'm happy that even though he decided to play, he was able to escape the pocket a few times. But I do think he probably had a little bit less juice. Like he wasn't able to get away really from the defensive line, even when he was in the open field. And yeah, I mean they smacked him a few times, really, really good, which was great to see. And now that we're talking about the first drive, I want to that first drive while watching it on TV was frustrating, obviously, because they're just getting 3 to 4 yards a pop basically every single play. OU's not really able to get them, down behind the line of scrimmage or right at the. But man, when you think about it, man, that's Missouri's first drive of the game. That's their scripted drive. That's the drive that they've practiced all week. And man, OU and it almost goes perfectly for them. They get the field goal instead of the touchdown, but they hold the ball for nearly 8.5 minutes, so over half of the first quarter, and they go 54 yards. And OU forced them to go in 14 plays. I mean, it's not like they were getting chunk yardage or anything like that. And I think as the game went on, as we saw it more, it was like that was basically Missouri's ace in the hole. That's all they had. I mean, and OU forced them to go 14 plays to get 54 yards on that first drive, and it ends disappointingly with them with a field goal. So big like for me there. You kind of basically take Missouri's best punch on the first drive of the game, and you hold them to a field goal. I thought that was and that's a good offense. It's a good offense when Purdue has been in there this year. So that's a like for me. Good job by the defense.
So a dislike on the defense, but also followed up by a like. And speaking of kind of the first, not just the first drive, but the first two drives, Ahmad Hardy, his first 6 carries of the game, he had 42 yards. He was averaging 7 yards a clip his first 6 carries of the game. So that's a dislike. He came out and was looking pretty good. But obviously a like is that he finished the game with only 57 yards rushing. So the rest of the game, he only had 11 carries for 15 yards after his first six rushes. Oh, man. And, I mean, Jamal Roberts didn't have much of a game either. So just an excellent job. I mean, Oklahoma essentially shut down the Missouri rushing game. I mean, even better than Auburn had done earlier in the year, because Auburn had a great success, but Auburn gave up a couple of touchdowns to Hardy. That was a very close game. Of course, Oklahoma ends up winning the game because Auburn couldn't do that. So a dislike, but also followed up by a like. Great job on Ahmad Hardy, with the exception of really the first series and a half or so. Good stuff there.
Yeah, that guy's, and I think that's a great thing. Now, Missouri is, I'll just, from what I've seen this year, that's the best running team in this conference. And they could not run the ball at all against this defense. It's all of their success running the ball came on that first drive of the game. And I think they on the blocked field goal drive, I think Hardy maybe had one like sort of like chunkish run. That was like 10 to 12 yards or something like that. But after that, I mean, it was the only success that Missouri found offensively in the game after that was just through the air. And it was very few and far in between in that regard. So, man, Ahmad Hardy's a dude. I watch him. He reminds me of his comp that I would say that he reminds me of Kareem Hunt. I think like, and so I think that guy is going to be a dude in the NFL at some point in time. So I thought it was a great job by the OU defense.
You got any? I got a pretty big list here, and I'm sure you'll piggyback on them.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback. I guess I can go. Well, let's see here. In the first quarter, we can't come up with any offensive likes. So,
I technically, yeah, you're for the most part right. There was one like, but it's more of like an all encompassing like, and I'll just say it. So the first snap of the game, I liked that John Mateer took a shot to Deion Burks. It was press man coverage, 1-on-1. There was no safety help, so it was the right read. I did not like the throw, though. Mateer needs to put more air under it, and so I say that it was more all-encompassing because throughout the game, Mateer was taking some shots. When he would see single coverage, it's just he didn't hit on any of them. And the closest one was a slot fade to Satania in the second half, which it was almost completed, but I didn't like the play call because it was 3rd and short, and Oklahoma had been running the ball well in that drive. Just run the football. So I like that they took shots. I like that they tried to stretch the field because I wanted them to take some shots with John Mateer, but they just couldn't hit on any of them.
You may not have seen it in the stadium, but that was so the play right before that was like a 5-yard run from Xavier Robinson to make it 3rd and 2. He got banged up and had to come off the field after that play. And so I would guess that probably changed their thinking on that play. I'm sure if Robinson wouldn't have gotten banged up on the play before, they probably just would have rode, with him. And so I don't know how apparent it was in the stadium, but watching the TV broadcast, to me, it really seemed like OU, I think, would have liked to lean on the run game a little bit more, but they don't have anybody in that room who is healthy. John Mateer is their healthiest running back. Xavier Robinson's not healthy. Torrey Blaylock only played like 2 snaps in the entire game. He didn't get a carry, didn't do anything. Xavier Robinson basically played the whole game. And so I guess I'll kind of piggyback on that. Just my first dislike on the offensive side of the ball. This is the 3rd consecutive year the running back room has been completely mismanaged. They don't have any bodies there that they can throw out there. And I think, I think it's fair to assume that at this point Taylor Tatum is healthy. He's out, and I get he hasn't played all year, and so they're probably just like, I don't want to. But they got 2 healthy guys there, Jade Knott, Taylor Tatum, who they can't play, and they that just can't happen. They got to do a better job at that. So I hope going into next season they go and well, I mean, first of all, they need to move on from the running backs coach. They gotta. That's just the offense has not been good enough this year, and the thing they need to. I guess I'm just kind of going off.
Will we finally see it? Will they finally pull the trigger on that?
They need to clean. They got to let Ben Arbuckle pick his guys in the offseason. They can't. They're out. The offense, and I'm talking. It's tight ends coach, running backs coach, wide receiver coach. All need to be gone. And that's it's not like a and it's not like a super like mean aggressive feeling like it was a season ago, but it's come on, we have a new offensive coordinator, a lot of new bodies in here. The issues with the offense are still like the skill guys. Let's move on. Oklahoma can do better than what they have there right now, and they need to move on. And so that's my first dislike. They're just gonna. I think right now, like we heard it from Brent Venables in the midweek where he said these next 2 games are really going to test our depth. And I think what he was saying is that Xavier Robinson is our only guy, and he's at like 60% right now. He's just kind of gutting it out. And I think they're going to have to do the same thing next week against LSU. And then, hope they win that game. And then they're going to have 20 to 21 days to rest before a college football playoff game potentially. And then I guess maybe, hopefully, you got Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock who are able to give you a lot more than they are right now. So big dislike for me. The running back room is a total mess.
It's awful. It's ridiculous. You can't. I mean, and meanwhile, Missouri's got 2 guys that are really good, and they probably have guys behind Roberts and Hardy as well that are better than anything Oklahoma put out there. And it's just
I'm thinking
well, to get real quick. I mean, easy one. We were talking this last year when you got Tawi Walker playing for other teams. He didn't have a good game this week, but he's doing nice things for Cincinnati. And then you got Hollywood Smothers at NC State, who had 21 carries on Friday and a win over Florida State, and he's had a good season. It's just these players that Oklahoma had in their room, and they wouldn't play. I mean, Tawi played a decent amount, but he should have played more. And so that's just more evidence of like, what are we doing here? And this is Taylor Tatum, highly recruited guy. I guess if he's hurt, whatever, but he can't get on the field. And then the easiest one is Jade Knott, which that's on Nagy. I mean, Jim Nagy, he was the guy that brought him in, and I mean that's not really all on DeMarco Murray. There's some blame to be shared there with really everybody. But yeah, it's a absolute mess. Sorry, I jumped in.
While I was watching the game, the thought came to my mind numerous times. It's just like, how comfortably ahead would Oklahoma be right now if Ahmad Hardy played for Oklahoma? Like, and they could just turn and give him the ball 25 times. Like, I mean, their offense wouldn't be great. It'd be a whole heck of a lot better. That's for sure.
All right, we're talking negative stuff. Let's do some actual likes for the offense. There'll be a lot of likes for the defense too. How about this? Second quarter was a good quarter for the game. Back-to-back first downs for OU's offense after not doing anything the first couple of series. There was a 3rd and 5 conversion to Satania where the crowd gave a little sarcastic cheer. And then the very next snap, Keontez Lewis was back. Keontez Lewis catches a 12-yard ball near the sideline for a first down, and then they tried to pepper him with more targets throughout that, and then just didn't work out. But that was good to see. Good to see. That's where we are with the offense. It's like, hey, back-to-back first down plays. We'll take it.
That's what I thought too. And that drive started at the 3-yard line. And so At that point, you're just like, I guess you could say, if OU understands who they are, you can absolutely say, yeah, it's just complimentary football. They did like Missouri made a nice special teams play. They downed it at the 3-yard line, and then OU's offense, they're able to pick up 2 first downs, get out of the shadow of their own end zone. They punt it back so that the best unit on your team can go out and kind of assert their will. And so I did like the back-to-back first downs there to Satania, Keontae. They tried to go back to him on whereas one of the very few times that Missouri after that was allowing free yards, and Mateer did see it, but on that 1st and 10, it's a good play by Damon Wilson. He understands it. It's quick in and out. He just gets a hand up and he bats it down. That's a good play. Otherwise, I think that would have been probably a 7 or 8 yard completion to Keontae Lewis. So that was the offense kind of starting to get out of their own way, which was at that point in time was nice to see because it was needed.
Let's go over to the defense. Defensive early in the game, second series for Missouri. Got to give Cortland Guillory some credit. Cortland Guillory, excellent in run support, came up and brought down Ahmad Hardy for a TFL on first down. And that was kind of the first time in the game where, I mean, granted, it was early on, but after that good first series, it was good to see Oklahoma get him behind the chains. And that was followed up by a Dominic Williams sack and then a Grayson Halton TFL where he just slid right by the center. And it was funny, both of those guys had little dances after their big plays there that made me laugh as I watched back the TV version.
Well, Grayson Halton has his signature dance this year is the one where he does the whatever thing. And it's kind of fun at this point in time. How about that? Here's one of my likes. And there's a lot of guys on the defense that I think you can single out as had really, really nice games. I thought Grayson Halton was awesome in this game. He's great. He's a 10-year NFL guy. He's really good. I think, coming into this season, we were all, excited about year 2 back-to-back of having Jaden Jackson and Dominic Williams, who I think were both really good players for him last year. But I think Grayson Halton and David Stone have been their 2 best interior defensive linemen this year. They're really athletic. And they're hard to block, and they cross the face of the offensive line so consistently. And it's too early for this, but looking ahead to next year, that's going to be Grayson Halton's shoes are going to be those are large shoes to fill for sure because he has just been so consistent. His ability to collapse the pocket, his ability to penetrate, and so I thought he was excellent in this game. I was just watching it on TV. He just kept popping up over and over again.
Yeah, and think back to before last year. Grayson Halton was one of those players going into last season where you look at Oklahoma's recruiting on the defensive line and think, okay, this is a guy that needs to be a steady contributor where he had not really done anything up until last season. And he had a great year a season ago. He's having another great season and just shows Todd Bates is really good at developing his position group. I mean, his position group is really good. And that's why it makes it look even so much worse on the other side of the football, where there's position groups that just aren't developing players, and the guys aren't any good. And so Grayson Halton has been terrific. I will say that he does get one dislike though. What was that penalty he was called for after the blocked field goal? What was he doing? What are you doing, laying on the holder there, dude? That was dumb. So that was a dislike I had for Grayson Halton. But yeah, ultimately a good game. 7 tackles. 2 TFLs, a half sack. He had a really good game. But yeah, I don't know what happened on that. By the way, Peyton Bowen blocked field goal. Excellent. Very good.
Yeah. I still don't understand what was going on that unsportsmanlike on Grayson Halton. I honestly don't really get it. I don't know what was happening because I didn't really find it that egregious. I think there are numerous times where something like that would not have been called. I thought it was weird, but also, yeah, I don't really understand what he was doing there at the same time. How about a dislike for me? I want to go back because I want to talk about something. On that same drive, I believe it was that same drive. OU gets Missouri off the field on 3rd down, and then there's an unsportsmanlike conduct on the sideline after that. And so they originally said it was PJ Adeborough, but that was changed to Danny Okoye. And I watched it back through. Danny Okoye did not do a single thing. He didn't do anything. And so unless he said something, but the guy goes past him. He looks behind. Danny Okoye looks behind as the guy is like rolling on the ground there. And then he just kind of turns away and is not really paying attention to the whole situation. So I don't know what was going on there. I have to assume that somebody said something or whatever. But also at the same time, I'm one of those guys. I'm team every ref is bad. There's not a single good one on planet Earth. And I don't know what was going on there. I have no clue. I know, like, I mean, Venables was hot. That's maybe the most upset Brent Venables has ever been, like on the sideline, I think. And so
There was another time, I think, in the game where he was really living. I don't think it was that time. There was maybe it was.
oh well,
Maybe it was the Grayson Halton one.
It was after the Grayson Halton one where he was just like really upset. And so
Yeah, I don't know what happened either on that. They only had one camera angle and they only showed one replay of it, and all I can think of is the way the referee reacted. I mean, he triggered immediately running towards it and through so it had to have been verbal, I'm guessing. And there was like one OU player that looked like he was like looking down, like you can see something. I couldn't tell who it was on the sideline. To me, that's who it looked like it was probably on, but he was. So I think it was probably just jawing. But like, what a dumb thing, man. I mean, that's it's basically a turnover because it was fourth down and Missouri's probably punting there. And then on top of that, the next snap, RSJ drops an interception. By the way, I guess I'm trying to remember if did he come back in after that, because I've not got through the
he
full
did.
rewatch. Okay,
He
so
did. He came back.
He was slow to
half.
get up.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
good.
it looked like he and I believe that came right after the 15-yard penalty to extend the drive.
It was literally the next snap.
The next play, yeah. And he it looked like he did something to his shoulder, but he came back. He did come back. So another thing that I kind of want to point out on there, we've because this drive was also aided by, and I just based off of kind of texting back and forth, it looks like you disagree with this, but that drive was aided by a PI on Jacobe Johnson, and that was a brutal call. It's brutal. It's just a really terrible PI call. I was pretty hot about that, watching it live and watching it back.
I mean, it's good coverage. Is just Jacobe reached out and grabbed onto the guy's arm and pulled it. That's why the flag's thrown. So
it was such a subtle. It
sucks, but that's why it gets thrown.
I get it, but it's just like it's just a brutal call. Brutal. I don't even know how the ref even saw the just extremely slight tug.
I don't think it's a brutal call whenever you see the guy pull his arm. Like that's a penalty. Like a brutal call, for example, is the end of the Monday night game last week where they called PI on the Lions where nothing happened. Like that's a brutal call, like where nothing happens. But yeah, I mean, it's for the most part, Oklahoma got flagged.
There's just no way.
Coverage, but the coverage was pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, the coverage was like really good, I thought, yesterday. I mean, they were sticky.
Better, and I
they were sticky. Yeah. And I just, from my, sure, if you slow down that play, there is a slight tug but there's just no way that ref saw it in real time. He didn't. That's why
he threw it. So I mean, I'm sure that's why he threw the flag. So we saw it.
He threw it because there was contact. You have Jacobe Johnson, who makes a really nice play. He turns his head. He's in good position. And there was a one, I guess, because you talk about your first that and maybe it was the first play, I can't remember, the go ball to Burks, or maybe it was later. But there's it's sort of like a shot to Burks and the Missouri guy is bodying him up the entire time. He never turns his head. And it's like, and then you're going to call on Jacoby J like that. It's just brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple plays. So there was a shot in the second quarter, I think, to Burks toward the end zone, and then also Keontae Lewis had a shot to him where
it was Keontae. It was Keontae Lewis. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought Missouri's corners were playing really good, really nice coverage. It's just they at the end they didn't really get their heads turned, and so I didn't really have a problem with no flag, but if a flag would have came out, I would have understood it. I think I thought all the defensive backs yesterday on the outside were really playing nice coverage. I mean, it's kind of a shame that the flags were thrown. Like, I didn't agree with Eli Bowen's PI got called on. Was
not a PI.
But, like, I understand why it was thrown because he did have him grabbed a little bit, but I thought Eli did a great job. Like, he tracked the ball. He was tracking the play. I mean, that's good coverage. That's just really good coverage. So, I mean, it didn't bother me. I mean, yes, would I have liked the flags to stay in the pockets more? Sure, but I understand why they were thrown, and I understand why they weren't thrown on Missouri a couple of times. It's just, yeah, it didn't go Oklahoma's way sometimes, but
Yeah,
it
and
happens.
it's one of those. I mean, they won by 11 points, and they're still alive, and that's all good. The Eli Bowen one, I'm less upset about just because I think live it did look like PI. It's when you slowed it down and watch the replay, you realize like, oh, Eli barely impeded the guy's progress at all. Like it wasn't. And Eli he turned his head around and he was making a play on the ball, and so, and it is what I mean. The ref is like the D back and the receiver, their backs are to the ref, and he just didn't have a good. He doesn't have a good look at it, and he throws the flag anyway. But um, so I other than that, whatever. I thought the refs were. I thought Missouri got the benefit of the doubt on more calls than OU did, but
Perhaps, yeah.
in kind of
I'd agree
in
with
the
that.
second half though, it all sort of evened out. It didn't matter. Like Missouri couldn't do anything.
But hey, credit to the referees. They didn't. I mean, they weren't missing. Missouri was called for holding a couple of times, maybe even 3 times. I mean, they didn't miss those, and those were good calls. So yeah, it happens. I just don't get that bothered by officiating that much because they're just doing their job, and unless it's like really bad. I mean, I think
Yeah, I guess, and I do because they suck.
people
They're all bad.
just I've watched so much football over time, and it's just whatever yeah. I mean, there's some that are just like really bad, but I wasn't that bothered by yesterday.
How about this? Let me just go back again because we're still on that drive where Peyton Bowen blocks the punt. What the first drive where Missouri scored? How was that not just like a flush block? How did they not just like? Was that Peyton Bowen again on the corner who just got
When
like
the
a
guy
piece of
made
it?
the field goal,
Yeah.
well, the first made field goal wasn't blocked. It was just a really weird kick.
Oh, he got his finger on it. Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Have you
He
gone back
missed
and
it totally.
rewatched the game?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it was just the kicker kicks the ground first, and the trajectory was weird, and somehow it went in. So I don't know how.
But even
It was
then,
just weird.
how on earth was that not like just a flood? Like he had enough time to just stand in front of the kicker. Like it's like he almost hesitated, like at the last second.
I don't know. How about this for a like? Let's get to the big stuff. Isaiah Satania's long touchdown catch and run. Obvious big time like. Before that happened, the game was a bit like, what's going to happen here today? I mean, because the offense was not doing anything, and this was a third down play. I mean, third down, and the previous snap, Mateer just missed really badly to Satania when he was wide open up the seam. And so I got to give credit to John Mateer and Satania because that was an absolute strike that Mateer threw, and Satania caught it and then was almost immediately galloping up the sidelines. And how awesome did that feel for him, I bet, catching that and then just seeing all the open green grass and just turning it on and getting into a full sprint. That was exciting. We had really excellent seats, Brady and I, and that was it came up the side. The play came on the sideline where we were close to. We were kind of near the 40, 50. I mean, great seats, and just had a great view of Satania just galloping up the field into the end zone. So exciting, awesome play, and an easy big time like because that really that changed everything because Oklahoma was doing nothing, and all of a sudden, boom, they're up 7-3.
I think that play too is like a really good illustration of how defenses are playing Oklahoma. I mean, they're sitting on the short stuff. And that's the thing. If you can like find a little window there and get a little bit of green grass, they don't have anybody back there. Like it's all because they're just everything on third and whatever. Because OU doesn't really run deep routes on third and medium. They're just basically running 7 and 8 yard routes. And so I can't remember. Like I'm not really sure what the route is called, but it was one of those where I think there were trips to that side of the field, and I think there was a drag over the middle, but Satania kind of started to the outside and then he cut in, and that was just enough time to get a little bit of space. And Missouri had a linebacker right there, kind of in the middle, to make to sort of rob that sort of because OU the book is out on them. That's what they do on third down, and there was just a small little window, and Mateer hit him, and that's a big play. I'm going to be honest with you. After that, I really relaxed, and I was like, "Oh, he's going to win this game." That's what they needed. Like that was exactly what Missouri could not give up there, and they did. And I was like, "Yeah, I think this is. I think they're going to kind of start to pull away after this," and they did.
Let's go to the defense. Defense like, how about Owen Heineke? I thought Owen Heineke had a nice game.
Awesome. He was
He
awesome. That
exploded
was his
into the
best game of the
backfield for
season, I
a
thought.
couple TFLs. Okay, yeah. And it was really nicely done. He set the tone after the weird sideline unsportsmanlike penalty that extended Missouri's drive. Heineke got a TFL on Jamal Roberts where he just read the run and exploded and got him down behind the line of scrimmage, and that led to OU just had Missouri going backwards, and even though the penalty extended the drive, Missouri still ended up punting. So that was a big play by him. So nice job there. And also going back to real quick on the series where Peyton Bowen had that blocked field goal, I liked Reggie Powers on third down. On 3rd and 6, Reggie Powers did a nice job of fighting through a pick play and getting through and tackling the receiver short of the first down marker there to set up a 4th down. That then Missouri and Oklahoma had dueling timeouts, and then that led to the field goal attempt. So Reggie Powers is the reason why Missouri was in 4th down there. So great job by him there. It's tough to get through because Missouri, again, was trying to do like a pick play. Reggie forced his way through it, got to the receiver and made a tackle and forced him out of bounds near the sideline. So like there for Reggie Powers.
Reggie Powers will get one of my likes as well. He's really good. Like he is just kind of, and and who knows, like I don't have the snap counts from game to game for him or anything like that, but my eyes kind of tell me that he has like slowly but surely played more snaps as the season has gone on. And I'm sure he's got some demerits. I'm sure at times he can probably be exploited in coverage, but he's just straight up one of the best tacklers on the team. Guy, when he, when he gets his hands on you, it's down. They go down, and really happy to know that he's got a couple more years here after this. He's a really good player. They're gonna miss him. They're gonna miss him in the first half next week because he got ejected for targeting. So, how about this? So OU goes, the 87-yard Satania touchdown. Missouri 3 plays and out, minus, they lose 21 yards and like with penalties and everything on the next drive, and OU is in great field position after a bad punt, and hey, they take advantage of it. They score a touchdown when they absolutely needed it. How about Giovanni Gibson getting his first touchdown of the season?
That was great, and nice job as an RPO, and Mateer's ball placement was excellent. Put it in the right spot, but Giovanni did a nice job of winning off the line of scrimmage. He kind of pretended like he was blocking and then created some separation with him in the corner. And that his big body there, that's really okay, that comes in handy there because John can just throw it up there a little bit higher than normal. And yeah, I mean that. So hopefully Giovanni is starting to get more of his feet underneath him. I know he's been available since the Texas game, but yeah, that was good to see that. Also on that on that series, I did want to a couple other likes. How about the long developing shovel pass play to pick up the 3rd and 5 to Xavier Robinson? I don't think we've seen that yet this year. And that whenever that play started, I was like, what are they doing? And then it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess that worked because I really wanted Oklahoma to run the ball more in that game. Maybe the reason why they didn't was because of Xavier Robinson. I thought Xavier actually looked fine. I mean, like he wasn't really that explosive. I mean, there was a play in I think the 3rd quarter where he caught a pass, broke a tackle, and then picked
Ran
up the
over
first
a guy.
down. And to me, he's not as explosive, maybe, but I mean, who knows what kind of pain he's dealing with. But yeah, I thought he looked a little bit better than maybe we would have expected.
I based on like and maybe this is just sheer incompetence. I don't know. I tend to think that it's not like I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh, we kind of need to have him on a pitch count. He can't take too much punishment in this game because like I mean it's based off this game script and how he's their only running back. So and he's not healthy. So even if he's not explosive or whatever, like yeah, I would have liked to see him get more carries and everything, but I don't think he can shoulder that load right now. And that sucks. I like it's especially when the other team and I know Missouri only ran for like 70 yards or whatever, but you see that they have just the 1-2 backs that they have, and you got OU who's just like is relying on a guy with playing on one knee, and a true freshman who since he had a really nice game against South Carolina has been completely invisible. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Same series, another like I have. How about John Mateer on 3rd and long, picking up 15 yards to extend the drive? That was a nice play. And Xavier Robinson, speaking of that guy, had a nice block on that play to initially allow Mateer to get into the second level. And Mateer was able to run by or run away from another would-be tackler to pick up 15. So nice to see one of the rare times Mateer kind of gets out and is able to run, picks up a 3rd and long, and that extended the drive, and a drive in which Oklahoma ended up scoring a touchdown, as you mentioned earlier. So I like that. That was cool.
All right. How about a dislike and then a like from me? Dislike is after OU goes up 14-3. They give up what I thought was the worst defensive drive of the game. They let Missouri get all the way down to the 2-yard line. That's just, you can't let them do it. It's a one-dimensional team. I think, and what's worse is you let Missouri throw on you down there. And sometimes the other team just makes some nice plays. And I think there was a bit of that there. Like Missouri's offense is not a sieve. So perhaps it was just a game script thing where that was just advantageous for Missouri on that stream. But then going to a like is that OU did not allow them to get into the end zone. And once they got inside the 5-yard line, it was just smack done. They had no chance. And that was really good to see.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off that. That's one of my likes as well. And what ended that drive, which forced the field goal attempt, was Michael Boganowski. Run stopper, Michael Boganowski on 3rd down. And that was excellent. I mean, that's what he does best. Coming down, helping against the run. And he diagnosed the play, little outside zone, and he just met Hardy in the hole and brought him down to the line of scrimmage. Excellent job by Michael Boganowski. He's starting to kind of feel it. He's starting to play. I mean, the secondary players are getting better, man. And there was a play, I didn't have this in my notes, but it was kind of a nothing, but I can't remember second quarter or third quarter. There was a play where Peyton Bowen, he's starting to really see it well. He comes down and he's reading Prabula's eyes and jumps a route, but Prabula it's almost like he sees it and makes sure to loft the ball above Peyton Bowen. I believe it was a completed pass, but I like that Peyton Bowen, I think he's starting to see it, man. Like he's starting to feel it back there, playing that deep safety role and trying to jump on balls. And so even though nothing happened with him on that play, you could tell though he read it, he saw it, and if Prabula would have thrown it more on a line, maybe it's a pick six. So that was a play that I saw in the second or third quarter. I can't remember when. So I'm really impressed with the secondary right now by Oklahoma. And I mean, we're near the end of the season. They had their gauntlet of good passing offenses, and they held up pretty well for the most part. I'm very encouraged by what I've seen.
Yeah, I've liked it. I think they're all just sort of kind of starting to grow into their role. And this is the first season we've seen Peyton Bowen be sort of like the alpha in the secondary, where he's essentially, he doesn't play every snap, but he plays a vast majority of them. And he's just gotten better and better as the season goes on. He looks like, he's like a 5-star top 10 guy in the country coming out of high school. And I think in the second half of this season especially, he started to look like that guy. And so I think he's earned himself already pretty nice payday next year going into his 4th year of college football. Unless OU goes on like a magical run here, I would assume that he's going to be back for his senior season. And should make some good money next year, I think, as probably in terms of returners, one of the better safeties in the SEC coming back. And I just, piggybacking too of just off of, I think the secondary has gotten a lot better. I feel really good about the corners right now, especially Jacobe Johnson. I thought yesterday, pretty obviously the best game of his career. I mean, I thought he was really, and we'll get to his pick that happened in the third quarter, but between Jacobe Johnson, Eli Bowen, and Cortland Guillory, those are 3 guys who you can feel pretty good about. And like I said after last week, it's, I'm sold on Cortland Guillory. I wasn't in the first half of the season. I am now. He's just gotten better as the season has gone on, which for a true freshman, that doesn't always happen. It's like, the tape is out on you and teams can kind of pick at you and whatever. And Guillory has just continued just to be a dog, and he's a guy I'm excited about. Eli Bowen has been, ever since he's coming back from injury, has just been the model of consistency. I think that
excellent.
you want. He's been really good, and then yeah, again, seeing Jacobe Johnson have the best game of his career yesterday. I don't really think we saw much of Davon Jordan yesterday, but Davon Jordan, and on the road against Tennessee and Alabama, just made some huge plays. And so, I mean, that there you go. You can, I think, for the first time in 4 years, it's like I can confidently say, good job, Jay Valai. Like those 4 guys have just gotten better as the season has gone on, and I think that's the first time we have seen a Brent Venables team on the defensive side of the ball get better as the season has gone on, and it's nice to see in that regard for sure.
Yeah, it's great. How about a dislike on the defense? And you hit on it a little bit earlier with Reggie Powers, the targeting. And then it was the right call. The dislike I have is actually with Sooner Vision. Being at the game, Sooner Vision did not show a good angle of that replay. It was a bit of a deceptive angle. It was a wide shot. You couldn't see the helmet to helmet initiation. It looked like all you could see was Hardy was essentially just shoving him. And so I got vibes of the Tennessee game, and I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in Sooner Vision because it made, and on the TV broadcast, McDonough and they were like, oh, the fans are mad. They don't understand the rule or what. No, the fans. The only replay we saw in the stadium, it didn't look like targeting, and so that's why people were not mad. People were mad about it. So dislike for Sooner Vision, man. Show a better angle. That was very disappointing. I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's pretty clear targeting when you totally lower your head and you lead with your crown and you make contact with the other guy's helmet. And I don't think it was malicious or anything like that, but it's
no, it's the right idea. The ball got tipped and they're hitting people. And that's what you're supposed to do. It's just it's too bad they're going to miss them, like you said, for the first half of next week. Hopefully that does not come back to bite OU. Go into it though. You mentioned Jacobe Johnson. That's my actually. I wasn't able to get through the full game. I got through the first 3 quarters of my rewatch, so I don't have the fourth quarter fresh in my mind. So I'm probably missing some stuff in the fourth quarter. Although I did see, I think Missouri's offense was able to move the ball decently in the fourth quarter, which I kind of forgot about. But my last like on defense is Jacobe Johnson. That his interception was tremendous. It was tremendous. It was such a good defensive back play. You listen to the show. What do I love to see? Good defensive back play. And I'm very happy they showed the all-22 replay of it. And this was a situation, they're playing cover 3, man. And I like cover 3. I like cover 3 in passing situations. It's good for the safety, the deep safety, and the 2 corners because they can get deep and they can read the eyes and they can potentially come up and make plays. And what made this play so excellent is that Jacoby's out wide against the receiver. That receiver motions across. And when that receiver motions across, there's no eligible receiver on Jacobe Johnson's side. And so what he does there is exactly what you're supposed to do. He realizes that, and he gets deep, and he looks across the formation to find other players coming into his zone. He doesn't just cover grass. Doesn't just cover up, well, there's nobody around here. I'll just hang out here and just see what happens. No, he was aware, he recognizes that deep over pretty much immediately, and he runs the route for that receiver. That was excellent. And I love seeing that. That's exactly what you're supposed to do as a cover 3 corner. And he was rewarded by it. And the last thing, at the end of the play, he turns his head at the last second to track the ball better, and he still makes the play. That was an awesome play by Jacobe Johnson, and I love seeing it. And again, I'm so happy they showed the all-22 replay because that's exactly what that is. That is perfect cover 3 play by a corner. Well done.
Textbook. It was textbook. It was awesome. And so I do want to back up for one of my dislikes. This happened before that interception from Jacobe Johnson. So it's 17-6. OU goes 7 plays, 38 yards. They have to punt. That was the drive where Xavier Robinson got banged up and they threw the slot fade to Satania kind of at midfield and they stalled out. It's 4th down. Here's what happens though. OU punts it to Missouri. Missouri goes 3 plays and out. Only gain 1 yard. They punt it back to Oklahoma. OU gets the ball at their own side at the 47, so pretty much right at midfield. OU goes 3 plays and out, doesn't gain a single yard on the play. That's good, like really good teams. When you get that opportunity, you have such good field position. OU needed to end the game on that drive. That was, and just the way that it had been going with Missouri's offense, OU scores a touchdown, their game's over. I mean, the game is stone cold over. And I don't like that OU did not have like a killer instinct there. There wasn't even like do you not have like a money play or something like that you can go to trying to get a big play or anything like that? Because I mean you scored there to go up 24-6. You're going to force Missouri to just kind of dink and dunk throwing the ball the rest of the game, unless they're going to try to get chunk plays. But then if you do that, they're going to have to hold up against OU's pass rush, which is not what they want to do. That was really disappointing that OU could not kind of put their foot on the throat. And really that was sort of the case throughout the second half of the game, where OU's defense put OU's offense in really good position to just go and end the game. And the Sooners could not do it once. And that was really frustrating. And all I can say about that is that, hey, they are who they are. It is what it is. Maybe next week against LSU, they'll be put in similar positions, and this time they'll be able to execute. That's all I can say.
So what I'll add there on that, I think the series you're talking about was the series where on first down, they called 3 pass plays after they get the ball back. I mean, at the very least, take some time off the clock, get a couple of first downs, just shorten the game, and they couldn't do that. They went 3 and out. And I believe this is a series on first down. Mateer tried to throw a pick. He tried to throw a pick near the near sideline, and it would have been a great play by the defender because it was a high throw, but he got both hands on it. And it's like, man, Oklahoma's they're clearly calling plays to prevent turnovers. While the defense, what was it, 2 take? I guess in my rewatch, I haven't rewatched was it Eli Bowen? Didn't he get a pick, I think, in the fourth quarter?
Yeah,
So
the last drive of the game.
I haven't rewatched that, but so a couple of takeaways for Oklahoma, a block kick, like no turnovers, great. But John tried to give one back, and then it was this, but I think that was 3 pass plays called, and I just overall I would have liked to see Oklahoma run the ball more in that game. I sound like generic, fan guy, run the ball more, but I know that it was a gritty performance by Xavier Robinson, and he has been banged up. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they had him like on a bit of a pitch count. Like we don't want to give him the ball 20 times. But then again, that goes back to what you talked about way earlier in the show. Just the whole running back room is a mess, man.
It's an S show. It's an S show for sure. So I'm trying to look at other stuff here because so Missouri Prabula throws that pick to Jacobe J. OU gets the ball back. This drive ends in the fourth quarter, but they go 5 plays, only gain 18 yards. They have to punt it back to Missouri. And Missouri, I think, actually gets. Well, this is where Miller punts it, through the end zone, and so Missouri gets the ball at the 20. They go 3 and out. They can't do anything. Just as they've just kind of the entire second half, Missouri can't do anything. In fact, they don't even gain. They've minus 9 yards on the drive because there's a sack. OU gets the ball back, I think, in pretty good field position, and this is what I'm looking at here. So OU does pick up a first down on this drive. They start the drive with a 10-yard Mateer run. They have the ball at Missouri's 47-yard line, so they're on Missouri's end. On 1st and 10, it's a 2-yard run for Mateer, and this is the one that just that sticks in my craw. On 2nd and 8, Mateer identifies he's got single coverage on Deion Burks on the outside again. And for the first time all season, Burks actually wins on the outside. He wins, and he's open. And it would have been a really nice throw if he would have been able to get this, but it's John Mateer. You got to hit. I mean, this is the SEC. When your receiver on the outside wins, you got to hit him. But if Mateer can hit Burks down the sideline here, I think he probably scores. I think it's a touchdown. Game over. And that's one where I'm very sure Mateer's going to go back and look at it, and he's going to think, gosh, I missed that one. But it's just gosh, if they can, that's one of those things. I think that's what separates them from those Iowa offenses of the past, is that just be a little bit better, a little bit more precise there. You got Deion Burks for what would have been like a 45-yard touchdown, and just missed him by a little bit.
I don't know if I think I think the play you're describing, I think that happened in the third quarter because I remember it going from left to right on the screen because Burks did win off the line of scrimmage on one of those, and it was like kind of near midfield, and Mateer overthrew it, didn't put enough
Yeah, you
air
might.
underneath it.
It was left to right. You might be right about that. So
So I
I'm looking
think
at
that was
the
in the.
I'm looking at the play log.
But you're exactly right though. I mean, that was one of the times where, and it goes back to one of my likes. I like that they were trying to take those shots because Missouri was giving it to them, and Missouri clearly has a lot of confidence in their corners, and I think their corners can clearly cover pretty well. But yeah, I mean, that's you got to hit those throws, and maybe they will. Maybe at some point they will. But it's good to at least see John throw the ball down the field. It's just he has no touch. He's not putting enough loft underneath it. Yeah, that was disappointing. How about just going to the third quarter, 3rd down and 4? I think they were across the 50. There was it might have been the drive where I think the by the way, like Tate Sandell made another field goal, 45-yard field goal.
Money.
I think it was on this drive on 3rd and 4. What was this play call? It was like an RPO, but it looked like John Mateer was going to do a quarterback power, and he hesitates, but you can see the receivers running slants. The play never seemed like it had any sort of chance. I don't know what that was, so that was just a weird play call. And then also my last dislike on offense, early on in the fourth quarter, I believe you kind of hit on this drive. It was 3rd down and 1, and finally Oklahoma ran the ball on 3rd down and short, and they got stuffed. It's like, of course. They finally run it.
Michaela let Missouri's like big D tackle cross his face. Just then he met him in the hole, and that's what it was. Yeah. And that would have been. But I just another like here for the defense. It's 17-6. OU's defense has essentially dominated since about halfway through the first quarter, and Missouri needs to put drives together early on in the fourth quarter. Missouri's first 2 drives of the third quarter, 6 plays, -7 yards, 2 punts. And that was basically it. That was like it. Like Missouri needed to mount some sort of huge drive there, and they weren't able to do it. It would have been nice if OU would have been able to hold on to the ball a little bit longer, and they did kind of do this once Missouri, once they turned him over on downs when Coleman dropped that pass in the end zone, which, it's OU, I guess, and gets kind of lucky that Coleman drops that. It was a really good throw by Perbula. But also I looked at it and I'm just like, that's college football, man. Like most teams don't make that play. And OU got lucky in that lucky in that instance, and that's okay. But one of my likes is that after that play, or after that drive, OU gets the ball back, and they do pick up a few first downs. They hold the ball for 4 minutes, and they effectively end the game. And that was when the offense had been bad in the fourth quarter, but they mounted their best drive in that quarter to end the game. I don't think Missouri got the ball back until the other side of the 2-minute warning.
I have one more offensive like, actually. And again, I just reiterate, I have not had a chance to watch the fourth quarter back in full, so I'm probably missing some things. But third quarter, Jaron Kanik, I guess it was his second catch of the game. I totally forgot his first catch. But his second catch of the game came in the third quarter where he caught it near the sideline, made a guy miss, and picked up 17 yards. And to me, it's just like when he gets the ball in his hands, he's like, crap, I never get the ball anymore. I got to make the most of it. And he's good. They need to find ways to get him the ball more. You've been talking about it for a long time. We talked about it in the pregame podcast. He's got to touch the ball more, man. He's an electric type player.
He's genuinely really great with the ball in his hands. And so like they tried to run another little bubble screen in this game. And it got blown. I think they ran it to Burks this time, and it got blown up. They lost 3 yards, and I'm like those, and that play was dead from it. Like there was a lot of penetration, and they didn't get their blocks on it. But that's the stuff that they need to be running for Jaron Kanik. Get him the ball in space. He's just really good. He's just really like he's not shifty or anything, but he's just crafty. He's crafty with the way that he's able to keep his balance and stay on his feet, and so. I don't know. Maybe they'll have something for LSU, but I don't know. But like we said, they are who they are, and at this point, you just hope that they don't make any huge mistakes and that they get an explosive or 3 during the game.
Yeah, you just kind of sit back and you enjoy what they are. I mean, and they're winning, and the defense is playing terrific, and it's very clear that they have very small margin for error, but they do have. They can do things from time to time. I guess. And again, these defenses they're playing are awesome defenses. Granted, they make the playoff. They're probably going to be facing other awesome defenses too, depending on how far they go, or maybe not. Maybe depending on the team. Maybe the defenses they'll face are not quite as good. And playing all these awesome defenses will have been a good thing that, get some, battle tested for the playoff.
There was
Do you have any other? Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of want to the defense. I think the defense is terrific. I think you can make the argument that OU's defense might be the most battle-tested defense in college football this season. I think there are two defenses that are statistically better than this year. That's Ohio State and Indiana, and I think both those teams are great. I think those are the two best teams in the country. They haven't really played anybody good. I mean, Indiana has played one game against a good offense, and they were terrific in that game. Ohio State has played. I think Washington is the best offense they've played all season, and they were terrific in that game. And so, but I think, I think OU's defense though has had way more on their shoulders, and I think they've consistently come up. The only game their two losses are the only games where the defense kind of let them down in big spots against Texas and Ole Miss. But other than that, especially the last three games, gosh, they've just been nails. And when they're bleeding yards, they come up with big plays, which is what good defenses do. And so, happy to see. And to me, and I'm going to kind of transition to another game here, but watching OU's defense is particularly satisfying just with the juxtaposition of I watched every snap of that USC Oregon game, and you were on USC. You thought USC was going to win that game, and watching OU's defense win them that game against Missouri, and I even thinking about the Jacobe J interception where he just played it perfectly, and just knowing that in the however many seasons of Lincoln Riley, we didn't see a defensive back even come close to making like a routine great play like that. And going back and watching USC's defense against Oregon on Saturday, that's just a Lincoln Riley defense. They had no freaking chance to get a stop when they absolutely needed it. No chance at all.
Yeah, I was wrong about that. I was hoping that USC would at least keep it close. Couldn't even cover. So good win for Oregon there. And yeah, I mean, Lincoln's team. I mean, I watched a good amount of it as well. And I know the offense, USC's offense was good, but also came up short in some key moments. And yeah, it's certainly nice to see Oklahoma play much better. I don't know. Remember, I'm going with that. Do you have any more likes or dislikes? Because we can go to 3-word reviews. If not,
let's go to the 3-word reviews.
All right, we'll go to the West of Everest Facebook page. We have time today to get to them. Longtime listener Skip says defense is strong and Arbuckle a clown. Ben Arbuckle's going to be getting a lot of heat of late. But hey, Philip, another longtime listener, Philip says not Arbuckle's fault. That's his 3-word review. Robert, big time listener, Robert says still mid-tier and also still won again. And Robert adds, remember the last national championship Oklahoma won. OU really needed only 3 points to have won that game. It's true. James says, elite enough guys for the defense. Whipped Hardy Z's. Hunter says, call me crazy. Hunter also wanted USC to win the game. Didn't happen. Hunter also says that this Oklahoma team is the antithesis of those Lincoln Riley teams. This offense may not be as terrible as those defenses. OU's played some actually good defenses. They're not great, though. Offense is not great, though. Let's see. Chris says winning is winning. Awful uniform matchup. Yeah, what'd you think about the uniforms in that game?
I'm pretty soft on the black unis. I actually think they look okay. The Unity nameplate is stupid. It's dumb. I hate it. That's the worst part about them. I thought Missouri's were sharp. I liked them.
I thought Missouri. I guess I haven't watched all their games. If they typically go with the yellow pants on the road, I don't know. After a while, I kind of thought it kind of looks like they're playing Kent State. They're playing Kent State again, even though I can't remember if Kent State even wore yellow pants in that game. I feel like that's. Anyways, who cares? I thought it was fine. Yeah, I think the Unity uniforms are. I don't know. I think they're kind of ugly, but I think Oklahoma's won every game they played with them since they debuted them in I think 22. for whatever that's worth. Chris also says offense needs remodeling. C. Randy Park says 1 game away. Long-time listener Steven says 9-2. Also, fans never happy. Says after a 6-7 season, this team has inexplicably put themselves squarely in playoff position. They don't win pretty, but they win. Improvements needed, but they have exceeded my expectations. And sure, I mean the expectations were, 7.5 wins. That's what Vegas put on there, and Oklahoma has done that, and they've won. And Brent Venables is going to be the coach at least next year moving forward. And the next test for Brent Venables outside of this season, we'll see how far they go. Can you put together back-to-back good seasons, or is it just good season then bad season? But we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
Way ahead of it, and I think when the off season comes, and I hope it comes a lot later than sooner. The big test for Venables is going to be one, and also just like the entire administration front office. Can you get like the big guys on defense? Can you retain them? Is going to be the big one, because I'm sure guys are going to get some offers and some, but can you retain those guys? Can you cough up the money to retain like the big guys who are going to return? And do you have the awareness to know that you don't need to completely retool the offense, but you need some new blood in there. And they need to spend a lot more money on skill guys. And that's the one thing I always said, you can't moneyball skill guys. You need big time to win a national championship. You need big time NFL guys at the skill positions, period. And do they have the wherewithal, the self-awareness to get to that point in the offseason? We'll see.
Continuing 3-word reviews from the West of Evers Facebook page. Good friend of ours, Jared. Jared's he says SEC is meh. Does everyone suck? Defense very good. This is where I'll push back on Jared. I text him all the time and we thinking. The SEC is not meh. The SEC is by far the best conference.
Like not even close.
Go watch the Big Ten. Go watch the ACC. Go watch the Big 12. We watch a lot of I get what Jared's saying, and we'll have a debate on this. The SEC is very good. Now, granted, watch us get to the bowl season playoff. I mean, I know last year we thought the same thing, and in the playoff, the SEC lost. I mean, Tennessee got smoked, and the SEC did not look great. And then, of course, you get Notre Dame and Ohio State in the national title game. Okay, fine.
It's a different thing. I think the Big Ten does probably have the 3 best teams in the country. I think Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon are the 3 best teams. Those guys, but the Big Ten just has zero depth. The 4th best team in the Big Ten is Michigan. And like Michigan right now is like in the 20s in SP+. Oklahoma kind of played with their food and dispatched with Michigan fairly easily. It's like the depth of the conferences is not even comparable really at this point in time. It's the SEC and everybody else. The Big Ten's got 3 really, really good teams. And after that, it's just kind of a lot of meh. And this is something that 3 or 4 years ago I was hammering home, like when these mega conferences started to form. I said it from the very beginning. The schedule inequity is going to cause a lot of heartburn and a lot of problems for being able to figure out who the best teams are. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. I mean, Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana's schedules have been kind of a joke. And that doesn't those
Ohio State's by far. It's Ohio State's schedule is, and the thing is, they're obviously a very good team. And it's a generic sports talk radio talking point, but will Ohio State's really soft schedule end up hurting them down the line? They're not going to be as battle tested. I don't know. It never really hurt Clemson.
I kind of keep thinking ahead, and this is getting way too far ahead. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, let's say OU is playing in that 8-9 game, and they're hosting that 8-9 game, and Ohio State beats Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, and it's OU would play Ohio State in the Rose Bowl in that scenario. I think that'd be kind of an interesting, and that was the exact same spot that Ohio State was in a season ago. They beat Tennessee in the 8-9 game. They had to go play the rematch against Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and they just absolutely just stomped them. But I would not be particularly confident against Ohio State.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. All right, another longtime listener, Mankey. Mankey's always got a lot of critical things to say. So his three-word review is Arbuckle is worthless. And his explanation is the one good thing people could say all season was that at least it's better than last year. Mankey says, I ask with complete sincerity, is it? Well, yeah, it is. I mean, it's better than last year. But that's me adding in. But Mankey says, give Arbuckle the inexplicable, unforced turnovers, wide receiver injuries, an unreliable kicker that plagued the 2024 team. Give Latrell, JJF the best kicker in college, an experienced quarterback, and a mostly healthy wide receiver room. Which group does better? Well, okay, I see what you're saying. I mean, I still think I don't know. I think Seth. I mean, the wide receiver situation we were on it all last year. Yeah, it mattered, but it didn't. It mattered way more than it should have. And granted, yeah, could Ben Arbuckle make Jackson Arnold look better? Probably not. I mean, Hugh Freeze couldn't. So
Yeah, this is
but
big. I
that
mean,
goes back to
Jackson Arnold stinks, like sucks really hard. He's a really bad player. And in terms of the receivers, yeah, I mean they were decimated a season ago. But Brennan, like, let's not pretend that Brennan Thompson isn't like in the top 3 of the SEC in receiving yards this year.
Oh yeah,
He's had a really nice season.
Yeah, I tend to think I don't know. I mean,
how about this? I think this is a fair thing to say. Where OU's offense is right now, like what was one of like sort of like the message board arguments? All is like, oh, with this defense, all OU's got to be is just average on offense, and they're a playoff team. And I think, in spirit, I think those guys, like the people who had that, were super wrong. But in reality, they've obviously been right because OU's offense is really average, and their defense. But the defense is a lot better than it was last year. But OU's average offense is much closer to last year's offense in terms of quality than they are to like Alabama this year. Is that and Alabama's offense is good, but it's also not great. So like, and my whole point was that average offenses in college football are bad. They're bad offenses. And that's what and OU's offense is bad. It's not good.
Yeah, not that good. Longtime listener Shane says winning without offense and playoff run continues. Monty says turnovers make hay. Brett says Petrino for OC. Bring probably Petrino in. And also Arbuckle a bust? Question mark.
And hey, like I'm team, do the best you possibly can. As OU, hire the best guys you possibly can. I think it makes sense to bring back Arbuckle and Mateer. You got it, like I said, bring back Beatonbow too, because the offensive line I think has been pretty good this year for the most part. You got to get rid of the 3 other guys. Let Arbuckle bring in his dudes, and then you got to I'm going to keep hammering it home. You go bring in Cam Coleman. Go get him. Go freaking get him. He's going to cost a lot of money. Go get him. And bring in another really good receiver who you're going to have to pay for again, or you hope that Elijah Thomas can turn into something. But how can you get to the point where Isaiah Satania is your number 3 guy? That needs to be the goal going into next year.
Michael says offensively bad offense. Andy says Arbuckle, Mateer, leave. David says offense is buns. And last on Facebook, Tim says Wilson call offense. You think if Kevin Wilson called the offense, they'd be doing better?
No.
I can't remember the last time Kevin Wilson called the offense, and it probably been back. I guess he was at Ohio State, right? Or
he didn't
an
call
analyst
it.
or something.
Ryan Day called the offense. Ryan Day's always called the offense at Ohio State. Except I guess Chip Kelly did last year.
Oh yeah. So maybe it would have been back in his Indiana days. Let's go over to Twitter at Lee Benson tweets, Twitter X. Gonzo Strangelove says, foul Ferencian football. I like it. Gonzo says, I know, but it's so bad at some point it won't be enough. Let's see. OU Boom says, help me fit this into 3 words. First 2 offensive possessions, Q4 sucked donkey balls. Oh, boy. Let's see. Josh says, Bowen boys ballin'. How about that? 2 brothers are playing some good football right now. Also, Josh says, beat both stripes, referring to the Tigers and the referees. Again, you were more hard on the refs than I just, it doesn't, I mean, unless it's like egregiously bad, it doesn't really bother me that much. But I know a lot of fans are not happy. Also, Josh says, oh, man, this is interesting. He says, maybe try Hawk.
Hawk sucks. He's bad.
Michael Hawkins is not a good player, man.
He's not going to be an Oklahoma Sooner next season. He's not good.
But, oh, boy. Let's see. Tiger Mayfield, he's back. He says, stuck in mud. Defense was great, and 1 went away. BW, hard to kill. Oklahoma's still alive, and also run the ball. Again, it's like generic sports talk radio or fan thing. It's like, run the ball more. I mean, who knows? Again, maybe the Xavier Robinson situation. He's injured. They want to try to prevent him from getting hurt. But, man, what a mess. Like, at some point, this running back situation is going to – I mean, it's already hurting. I mean, Oklahoma's winning. But
I guess this team's not going to win the national championship.
No.
Right now, it's you take it week by week. Make the college football playoff.
What if they did?
Well, they're not going to. They're not even close. They're not. They're right now it's week to week. Goal right now is because you've gotten there, because you've gotten to the last game of the season, and it's very much within. Right now, the goal is to make the college football playoff, and you do that by beating LSU. And then if they do get a home game, then you worry about it then. And then you're just like, okay, I think it's reasonable if you have a home college football playoff game, then the goal goes to win a college football playoff game. And then anything after that is just going to be gravy.
Sunny Hill Sooner says, defense saved us. Longtime listener, friend of the podcast, Harry says, block field goal. Matt at MJM572 says, part 1, you kidding me? And also part 2, he has the old Jim Mora gif of playoffs, which is just always fun. I always think that's funny. Excuse me. Couple more. Tim says, this offense sucks. And lastly, Boomer. Picking up off of Tim's 3-word review, Boomer says, offense sucks bad. It's not great. Oklahoma's winning, and just enjoy it. And I'm happy I didn't come on to this podcast and laugh maniacally like I said I would if they found a way to lose to that Missouri team after winning that Tennessee and Alabama game. Oklahoma, and I think you probably agree. And I thought, hey, if they win against Missouri, I think they're going to beat LSU as well. That was a game in which they'll show us like, okay, they had those 2 crazy wins. They come back home, had some expectation. Not only did Oklahoma win, they did cover the number. It was ugly, but they won. And now LSU coming off of granted, Western Kentucky's a good football team for, the group of 6 or whatever. LSU coming off a hard-fought 13-10 win over Western Kentucky yesterday, coming into Owen Field. You gotta beat LSU with a backup quarterback. Got to win that game.
And I think I don't know. I mean, LSU's got some good receivers, but they also haven't really done much the entire season. The thing that I'm scared of the most would be Van Buren's legs. Other than that, LSU cannot run the ball. They're a one-dimensional team. Their offensive line is, to borrow from a 3-word review, their offensive line is buns this year. It's bad.
Buns. That's
but
good.
It's another good defense. I think OU is going to play in their SEC schedule. OU is going to play, I think, probably 6 top 20 defenses, and LSU is one of them.
Let's see. We talked about we're the only game yesterday that was kind of interesting. The USC Oregon game. Was wrong about that.
Yeah, I thought Assy Saturday lived up to what it was supposed to be, for sure. Yeah, I think I think root hard for Washington. It's in Seattle.
Yeah.
And Dan Lanning might have it's a different coaching staff. Dan Lanning might have a bit of a Washington problem. He's never beaten Washington.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All right. Hey, great win. Good stuff. Still, hey, going into the final regular season game with Oklahoma with a chance to make the playoff. This is great. This is awesome. I mean, it's very different than last year. Yeah, the offense is not very good. It kind of is what it is. The expectations have already been exceeded for this season. So just enjoy it. It's not great that Oklahoma is in the spot where the expectation is not, it is not winning the national title. Like that's what it should be. They're not there. They haven't been there in a few years, unfortunately. But at least the expectation was to hopefully win more than 7 or 8 games. They're there now. It can be make the playoff, and then that puts you in a position to, even though it's very unlikely, you could win a national title. And in a year where Oklahoma's defense is great and the offense is very good, and it's the fun, the NIL, and like a lot of these teams, a lot of the talent spread out. And honestly, look at the teams above Oklahoma in the ranking, in the standing. It's like, I mean, I've seen Oklahoma go up against really good offenses, and they can beat these teams. Depending on it, so like it's not impossible, is what I'm trying to say. And that's what makes it even more fun and interesting. Is that, yeah, Oklahoma's offense is not very good. They're probably not going to win the national title, but they could.
But to win the dance, you got to be invited to it. So they
keep playing playoff games. They're already playing playoff games. They're now 3-0 in those playoff games. Time to go to 4-0.
Yeah, we'll see if there's anything. They get to that point. We'll see if there's anything to the logic of like they're so battle tested and they've just been kind of, and they're going to go up against a bunch of teams who, like, I get it. And like, right now it's if it gets to that point, it'd be Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame's really good, but also I think you can squarely throw them into they've played 3 good teams all season. They're 1-2 in those games. They sort of like physically beat up USC, but as we just saw against USC, is going to get physically beat up by any team that wants to do it. Like Northwestern kind of physically beat up USC. And so Notre Dame's played 2 really good teams. They lost both of the games. And I guess I wouldn't call Miami a really good team, but we'll see. Who knows?
Lastly, this is just all college football. Man, I was wrong about Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, what are you doing, man?
What an off.
Getting beat by Pitt?
I wanted to bring that up too. How do you let that happen? Like, Georgia, that was their last ACC game. You win that game, you're in the ACC title. Probably not going to play Miami. You're probably going to play a Virginia team, which means, I mean, your path to the playoff is right there. You're at home at night against a true freshman quarterback who just the game previous was off. I mean, it was so terrible. But I like you say, like, Georgia Tech, how can that happen? And I'll tell you how it happened. Georgia Tech's not any good. They play in a really bad conference. They haven't beaten anybody good this year. And they're just not a good team. It's that simple.
Just that's that simple. I mean, at home, you get out of the first quarter, you're down 21-0 to Pitt. Good for Pitt. I thought they were going to finish 7-5, and heck, they got to 8 wins.
But yeah, the Pitt Virginia ACC title game is just going to be electric. Even though I think right now it's probably I think SMU is going to is in right now if they win next week. Right. It'll be someone versus SMU. How about SMU looking like they might backdoor their way into their 2nd straight college football playoff?
No kidding. I don't think I've seen SMU play a snap of football this year.
Yeah, they smoked.
I'm not sure if I've watched them play.
They smoked Louisville yesterday. This is the same window as the OU game, but it's a whatever, man. That's the ACC is just dreck this season.
All right, good win, good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. We'll be back midweek to talk about OU, LSU, probably. Of course, the new playoff rankings will be out. We'll see what kind of changes those have, if any. And this is fun. This is cool. This is exactly what you hope for going deep into the college football season. It's exciting. Grant, any final thoughts before we call it a day?
I'm good to go.
All right, guys. Until next time, for Grant, I am Lee. This is West of Everest. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the show. And if you want to help us spread the word, please leave us a 5-star review. And also, tell all of your friends who are OU fans about West of Everest. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.